Hello, my name is Em, and welcome to the Twitch SMP. Now, we've been building a bunch of amazing tree houses and trees in the last couple of episodes around here, with our trading hall, farming tree, our iron farm, our starter base, and our nether portal and enchanting tree. Well, all the trees are looking really good. The terrain, well, it's not looking that great. There are random holes in multiple areas. There's a bunch of random blocks just placed all about. There's even an area back here that's pretty much like what every YouTuber does, in which they just build the front that you see in the actual video and not the back. And for an area that's supposed to have a bunch of trees and supposed to be a forest, there really is only like 5 big trees around here, and the rest are kind of been deforested. So what I want to do is go around and do a bunch of terraforming, cleaning up the area, as well as adding a bunch of foliage and trees to really bring together the entire build and to really make a big forest. But I don't want to just go around and plant a bunch of saplings. I want to actually go and build my own custom trees. Problem is, I don't really have any good custom spruce tree designs, so we are going to need to go and design those first. So let's go hop into a creative world and build a couple. Now for the trees, I want to have it be a pretty easy block combination that I can get, so that it isn't too difficult for me to actually get them. But I think we're gonna go actually with stripped instead of normal spruce for our main coloration of the log. And if we go and we build up just a little bit of a base here at the trunks of them, and then we can go up, and then when we get closer to the top, we kind of taper it in like so. Then we use a combination of slabs and trapdoors and fence gates as our main source of the branches that will just make it nice and skinny. And the further up the tree, the shorter the branches will get out, so they don't come out as far as they do in the front of it. So like, for instance, down here at the bottom, they can come out like 3, maybe 4 blocks, where at the top they only come out 2 and 1 block, so that it just has a natural taper out. Also, you want to make sure when we're making custom trees to also have some diagonals here, because not all branches are fully streaked out. Now we got a bunch of the branches, we can now go around and we will start off with spruce leaves here at the bottom. We don't want to we want some air gaps or whatever, and we want the leaves to be more on the outside of the tree and not towards the inside, as the leaves are naturally more towards the out than actually at the in. And now once we're getting closer towards the top, we can switch now into some birch leaves as well, as the birch have a little bit lighter coloration, so that then basically it helps to draw the eyes up. And with that, I think that tree is looking pretty good, so let's make a couple more designs so we don't just have one design. Okay, I think we got 6 very nice tree designs here that we can now basically go and transfer over into the Twitch SMP. Now that we've designed all the trees, we now need to go get the materials for it. And we need a lot of spruce for it, which I ended up using a lot of the spruce that I had in the last video for the 2 trees. So we are going to need to get a bunch more spruce for that. We're also going to need a bunch of mud, birch leaves, and spruce leaves. So let's go grind that out a little bit. Now, to make sure that the trees that we built work for this area, I think we're going to start out by building a couple around here in this farming area that we have already pretty much finished with terraforming wise. I think we'll do a couple here and a couple up there to basically bring together the space. So let's build those. Okay, these trees are looking really good, and so are those, and I think they end up bringing together this space really nicely. Now, I do think we probably can add a couple more maybe here within the wheat field as well as around the outskirts of it, but we will come back to that, as I want to do some work over on the terrain over here. The terrain over here doesn't look really good. We got a bunch of caves and everything that go into the landscape. We got like one of the trial ruins here, and we also have just a bunch of lumps and holes and whatnot around this area that just don't really look that good. So I want to do some work here. Now, the first thing I want to do is just come and like kind of smooth out areas like this right here and just, you know, remove it and flatten it so we got a nice little slope and also larger area to work with. Additionally, I also want to remove all the mossy cobblestone rocks and things, as they don't really look that good and won't really work with the terrain that I want to do. Okay, so we've cleared out all of the mossy cobblestone that was all around here, down there, up there, down here, and we even cleared out a little bit of the area here of the trial ruins. So really all we need to do now is smoothen out this area, get rid of some of these caves, and put in some of the different platforms so that we can put more of our nice rock and cliffs around here. So I'm going to start out by making some wireframes of all the places where we can put some of the cliffs. I think up here will be a pretty good starting point. Now we have done a lot of outlining, and overall we used about 2 shulker boxes of dirt just for the outline. So we're gonna have to get a lot more dirt for the rest of it. But basically I want to build a massive mountain range back here, or like boulder range, I guess, because they're kind of bouldery mountains, but basically a bunch of rolling hills back here that where they're going to end up adding with a bunch of our custom pine trees to add a whole forest and a custom terrain area here, as well as a bunch of the terrain here will be being elevated with cliff faces, and even some of these other places, while they aren't going to be elevated with cliff faces, they are going to be smoothed out. So let's go and get some of the materials needed for all this, because we are going to need a whole bunch of tuff, a whole bunch of andesite, a whole bunch of clay, a whole bunch of stone, a whole bunch of cobblestone, and I think we got most of the mossy cobblestone already out in the way. We're gonna need a whole bunch of that. Also, we're gonna need a bunch of dirt. So let's go to the shopping district first to get some of those materials, as well as some shulker boxes to store all those materials. Now our first stop is gonna be getting some shulker boxes. You got any tough for bulk, diamond per stack? See, I guess so. So we don't have to mine it, let's go and get a bunch of that. Which 1, 2, 3. Now, I've been looking around here for about 10 minutes and I have not found a single place that's selling dirt. So I think we're just gonna have to go and get all of that manually, as well as the clay, more andesite, and a bunch of just probably everything, to be honest. So we're gonna go down into the mines for the tuff, the andesite, the clay, the cobblestone, and the stone. But in order to get the dirt, what we're going to do basically is we're going to mine out all these areas under where we're going to be having our new terrain. And so it won't really be that big of a deal if we just mine out these dirt areas right here for the dirt. So let's go and get into a massive resource gathering montage. Okay, so we have gathered a whole bunch of materials, like a lot of them. Now, I don't know if this will be enough. I'm hoping it will be for the majority of it, but we might need to go out and get even more. I have no idea if this is enough because all of this is being free-handed. I have not pre-planned any of it, so hopefully it not only turns out well, but also that we don't have to go and get too many more resources, because this took a long time to get. So I think where we're going to start out over here, as this will be a little bit easier to do than that, because I'm not looking forward to that. So let's go and work on this part of the terraforming. We have done a lot of work here on the cliffs here, and I think they're looking really nice. I think they turned out really good up here. And now we're gonna go and move on over to these wireframes over here, which is a big, massive mountain area that we are gonna have to completely build by hand. We didn't have any landscaping over here, and I think we're going to even add more landscaping up here, so for more mountains in the back there, so it's not just a big site right into those trees there. I think we're going to end up covering it up there, so we're going to have even more cliffs to build. Thankfully, our block reserves are still holding very, very strong, and so I think we aren't going to have to worry too much about not having enough for the rest of the terrain. And with all that said, let's get into building the rest of these cliffs. And after a lot of work, I think the mountains ended up turning out really, really well. And I really like the shaping and the coloration I was able to do with basically this entire area. I think it turned out really, really nice. Now, I do want to add in a water feature coming down here, like a waterfall coming in, and probably a little pond down here. And so we are going to use some of these materials right here to do that. Now, to start out, let's mine out a little area here as our pond. Now on the side here, I do want to make a little bit of a bank here with some of our slabs. And then on the banks here, I would like to add in some smooth sandstone, as well as some stripped birch and some of the sand, just to have a nice little coast up into the grass. Now I think that looks pretty good. So now let's go and fill it up with water. Now if we grab a little bit of bone meal and bone meal out that, we have a pretty nice little pond here. Now let's go and make the rest of this waterfall water feature. And with that, the water feature is done. I think it turned out really, really good. I really like how I was able to make it go down the mountainside here with the flowing water and everything and down into that pond. And I think it breaks up the gray of the cliff sides very, very well. So it's nice to have this pop of color, this pop of blue in it. Now, while we do have the cliffs and this water feature, we are going to need to build a whole bunch of trees and other foliage around here to bring the whole landscape together. So to build those trees, we're going to need a bunch of spruce, a bunch of leaves, and a bunch more mud. And while we did collect a bunch of pieces for these other 4 trees that we built previously, this is not going to be enough for the amount of trees we're going to need to cover up this entire cliffside. So let's go over yonder to grab a whole bunch of leaves and spruce. So in addition to what we had previously, we now have a whole bunch of leaves and logs that we are now going to be able to use in order to build a whole bunch more of our custom trees up on the cliffs. Now I'm going to want this forest to be really, really dense, but also having nice areas in which you can actually have nice sight lines up towards the top of this base. So we're going to probably line a bunch of trees up at the tops, as well as and having a little bit more of a clearing here more in the middle towards the center of it. Since we have all the materials, let's start building up some trees. And with that, we have built a total of 19 custom trees between all of these and the 4 over here. And I think this little forest area is looking really, really good. Well, I really, really like this density, and I think I'm going to continue this density over into this area and keep it a big, dense forest. I don't think this density will end up being as good for this area here. So I think I'm going to end up reducing the amount of trees here towards the center, with more up at the top and around. Additionally, when it comes over to this area, I think I'm going to reduce the amount of trees as well and not have them as big and populated as they are there, just to make sure we can have good sight lines to all of our big trees here. But again, I think once all this area has a bunch of trees, I think it'll look really, really good. So let's continue by adding a whole bunch of trees to this area and filling out the forest. And with that, we built all the trees, and they are looking fantastic. In total, there are 86 custom trees that we built today, which was a lot and took a lot of time and effort, but I think it is worth it. This is probably my favorite spot right here. It just looks really, really nice with the waterfall and everything and all the trees there. I think it looks really, really nice. I also put down some grass patches around just to help bring in some life into this build. All the trees in the mountains really brings the whole entire area together, and it looks really, really good. I'm really happy with all the custom trees, and I'm happy I did those over just putting random spruce trees in because it really brings the whole build together. Well, that's all for me, so let's go and look at some glamour shots. With Season 7 coming to a close, I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish, and I can't wait to what's going to come in Season 8. But for now, I think I'm going to go back to my Forever World, so I'll see you there, and have a good life.